Hi, I'm Paul from Professor Killamoth. I'm sorry to hear about your moth problem. We're really glad you chose our moth traps to get started eradicating these nasty pests. In order for you to get the most out of the moth traps, I wanted to give you some important information before you set them up. First, I wanted to make sure you bought the right moth traps. I'm not sure if you know, but clothes moths and pantry moths are different moth species, and there are distinctly different traps with unique pheromones for the different types of moths. So, if your problem is clothes moths, I want to make sure that you bought our clothes moth traps. If your problem is pantry moths, I wanted to make sure that you bought our pantry moth traps. The moth traps are sealed in foil packets, and as long as they remain sealed in the foil packets, they'll last for years. After they've been opened, they remain effective for up to 3 months or when they get fairly full of moths. Please note that the date on the front of the foil packet is a manufacturing date, not an expiration date. So as long as they're sealed in the foil packets, the traps will be good for years after the date on the foil packet. Next, I wanted to make sure that you know to remove the protective paper that covers the glue on the traps. We've had customers not realize they have to take this step and wondered why moths were flying all around the trap but not getting stuck in it. So please make sure you remove the protective paper before assembling the traps. The way the traps work is that the pheromone attracts and traps only the male moths to end the mating cycle and stop new moths from being born. There are typically a lot more female moths in a population of moths than male moths, and the female moths won't be attracted to the pheromone and won't fly into the trap. So you could see female moths flying around even after you place the traps and start catching male moths. When you first open our traps, the air can potentially become saturated with the pheromone as the brand new fresh pheromone is released. With that, the male moths won't be attracted specifically to the trap until the initial saturation in the air with the pheromones dissipates, which can take hours to days depending on the environment where you place the trap. The mating cycle will still be interrupted due to the air being saturated with the pheromone, such that the male moths won't tend to find the female moths. But you won't see the physical result of male moths being caught in the trap right away. Again, after the initial saturation of the pheromone in the air dissipates, the male moths should start seeking out and getting stuck in the trap. One very important thing to note is that more isn't always better when it comes to moth traps. If you place too many traps in a small area, it could confuse the male moths and lead to poorer performance of the traps instead of trapping more moths. 1 trap per closet or 1 trap for every 70 square feet of living area is enough. There is one more thing I'd like to mention. If you are seeing moths in your closet or bedroom and the closed moth traps just aren't catching any after a reasonable period of time, then you might actually have pantry moths in your closet instead of clothes moths. This may sound strange, but pantry moths are more common than clothes moths, and they often will find and feed on crumbs in bedrooms and closets. That's why we put a bonus pantry moth trap in with your clothes moth traps. If the clothes moth trap just aren't catching any moths in your closet or bedroom, please try the bonus pantry moth trap. We hope you found this video helpful, and if the moth traps don't work or if you have any issues at all, we're here to help. Please contact us at care@killamoth.com. Thanks for watching.